Okay, so we have a post preview component here. It looks pretty nice, but we can't actually go to the component itself. And clicking here, say if this link were longer and we wanted to read the rest of the post, I don't think we actually put anything else in here, but if we did, if we really wanted to, we could come in here, check this out, and go to that post itself. To do that, though, we're going to need a few things. The first thing is that we will need to bring in React Router. And React Router is one of the premier, or like mostly the de facto go-to routing solution for React applications. And React Router has been broken into a couple packages. The one we're going to be using is the one for web applications, which is known as React Router DOM. So to use routes in React, we're going to say import browser router, routes, and route, 3 different components from React Router DOM. Now we are using I think it's like V6 alpha? Yeah, V6.0 beta. It's in beta now, which by the time you read this, it may actually be the live version. But the 6.0 version, I think, has a much better API and syntax than the previous ones. So we'll be using that for this application. But the way this works is essentially the browser router component wraps all parts of your application where you want to be able to navigate to different routes. And we actually want the nav bar to show up on every page, so we're going to leave it there. But the rest of the application, we're going to surround in this browser router component. And what this browser router component does, essentially, is it says, hey, everything in here knows about the different routes of the application. And actually, we do want the nav bar to be able to link to different parts of the application, so we're going to want to include it inside here as well. Otherwise, you're going to get funky errors about used location. Actually, you know what? I'll show you those errors in a second. But here, the browser router is what's meant to wrap all of the application that should know anything about your routes. And this routes component is what is going to handle the routing. Now, the routes component wraps any number of route components. And each route component should be given a path, which is the place that the actual URL itself. And when a user goes to the home page, they should expect to have this element rendered to the screen, the homepage element. And that's really all you need to do. Oops, I forgot that over there. That's really all you need to do to set up routing in your application. We now have a single route, the home route, here, and whenever a user goes to the / route, they'll be directed to the home page. If they go to any other route, they won't get anything else except the nav bar. Now, just to show you, I haven't saved this yet. So if I come to the home page and I click on /something, you'll see it's still the same page here because the router hasn't actually been implemented yet. However, if we were to save this application and head back to the something page, we'll see nothing here except the nav bar. That's because we said we only want to render this home page if the user is at the /route. So if the user goes to the /route here, they should see this. And that's exactly what we want. Now, let's actually create a route for about really quickly so that you can see exactly what I'm talking about here. So if we go create a component called about.js, and I export default a function called about page and a div with a class name equals about. And let's actually create a CSS file for this one as well, because they all probably will need it at some point. Import about.css. And then I'm going to say an h1 here that says about me. And you know what? Let's throw a hero in here also. Import hero from .hero/hero. And let's give this hero a different background image from the other ones. Const about bg image. And we're going to throw that in there. Let's grab another one from Unsplash. And we'll go with, we already looked at that one. It was fantastic. Let's go with another pretty one with trees. This looks great. Let's go with this one right here. So I'm going to open image in new tab, grab this one, head back, throw it in there, and then have a section about me. I'm learning to write React and Node and Express apps. Follow along with me in my journey. That is a very corny line, but you know what? It'll have to do. Now, back in the app component, I'm going to import this about file. Import about from ... /about. The about page here. And then we're going to have another route below this, and it is going to be the about route. And I'm going to have the about component mounted here, and that is the element that will be rendered when the user goes to the about page. Now when I save this, and I head back to my app, everything works fine. Now if I were to go to something, it will show me nothing. If I go back and I go to the about page, I should see my new about page. Now that doesn't look great. I probably should have picked an image with a darker color there. Let's pick something slightly better. That's not quite what we want, but it is pretty. Don't get me wrong. Great. You know what? Let's go here. This looks lovely. It's a little darker, so that white color should show up a little better in the about page. Let's try that. Hopefully that looks a little nicer. Okay, yeah, that's much nicer. Fantastic. So now we have this about me section. Notice how, by the way, this app component doesn't extend across the entire part of the screen. Let's fix that really quickly because that's going to bother me forever. Min height, 100 view height. There we go. Now it extends across the entire screen. I could probably center this whole thing in the about file. .about, text align, center, margin, 10 pixels, auto. Oh no, I don't actually want that 10 pixels. Let's get rid of that. That's good enough. You know what? That's fine. That's everything I need right there. I have my about page and I have my home page. And later on, we could probably invent a contact page. But we can't link back and forth between these pages easily now, so let's do that in the next video.